Hey, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How is everybody doing? It's me, MCKOOKIE. So we got another Dead by Daylight upload for you guys today, and a couple things I wanted to talk about in today's video, but mostly the theme is going to be all about Pop Goes the Weasel, and just had a few things to bring up regarding the perk. As most of you know, it's probably one of the strongest killer perks in the game right now just because of how fast the gens tend to get done. I'd say before the Blight came out, the killer meta was basically Corrupt Intervention to block off the 3 furthest gens from you. And then Pop Goes the Weasel to basically kick whichever gen is about to get completed after you hook somebody. And the developers had a big update yesterday talking about what they're basically, buffing, nerfing, etc. Couple of perks are getting buffed, some are getting nerfed, and Pop Goes the Weasel was on the nerf list. And for those of you who don't know, the current timer when it's at level 3 is you have 60 seconds to kick another gen after hooking somebody, and then you can regress the gen for 25%. What they're going to do is make it so you only have 45 seconds. That doesn't sound like a lot, and people are saying that it's not a big deal, but I actually think that's pretty huge because I'm somebody who's actually used the perk at level 1. And it's almost unusable. And at level 1, it's 40 seconds. And honestly, if you're not playing a really fast movement speed killer, if you're playing like a Huntress or a Plague or a Demogorgon, or not a Demogorgon, sorry, a Deathslinger, someone who has 110 movement speed is going to have trouble getting to a generator that's on the other side of the map and kicking it in time, like they don't struggle enough already. So I think, and this is my prediction, the Hex, Ruin, and Undying meta that was kind of coming out is going to be the official meta. And we're going to see Pop Goes the Weasel kind of go to the wayside. The exception to this is actually the gameplay I have for you in the background. And I think Freddy is still going to be a really good killer to use Pop. And now before you guys ask me, yo, Kevin, you bugging out. Why are you using Ruin and Pop? Dude, like, what's wrong with you? Are like, what are you thinking? And I know, well, as long as Hex Ruin stays up, I can't kick a generator with Pop Goes the Weasel because you're not able to regress a generator that's already regressing. And that's fine. But my problem with not running Pop and running this build is that if I have Hex Undying and Hex Ruin on an open map, my totems go very fast. Like, we're talking, like, if we're on Autohaven or Macmillan, and if I'm getting like destroyed in a chase, which sometimes happens, if it's a really good survivor and they're on a really safe part of the map, my totems are gone, man. We're talking maybe one chase, I lose most of my totems. They'll get rid of like 2 fake ruins and Undying, and then I'm left with like the real ruin, and then I go into another chase, and we're talking a couple minutes later, like only 2 gens are done, but I'm totemless. I'm down 2 perks, and now I only have Tinker and nothing to defend the gens. So I think this build in the background is so good on Freddy because you basically have Hex Undying and Ruin for at least the beginning and the middle of the game, and then Pop Goes the Weasel is basically your gen protection for the end game, and sometimes like sooner than the end game. So this gameplay that you're watching in the background, I kind of cut it down for sake of time. I don't want the video to be super long. But long story short, I was getting destroyed, like absolutely torched in my chases. Like I was losing mind games. I was making the wrong reads. It was a rough start, whatever, it happens. I haven't played Killer in a couple days. So trying to get back into it again. And this is high rank. I think I'm like a pip or 2 from rank 1 again. So these people, they know how to play. Well, except for, a couple of them. The Steve and the Meg were a little sus, okay? This Steve is a little sus, but everybody else, they know what they're doing. So anyway, I was getting wrecked, right? Rough start, I think I got my first, hook when 2 generators were done, and I think you had, a 3rd gen that was about to pop. It was at, 80%. It was Proc and Tinker. Yeah, there you go. It was Proc and Tinker. So I'm losing all my perks, right? They the gens are flying. I've lost Undying, I've lost Ruin, and now I have Pop Goes the Weasel. And you'll see in the background, I'm able to actually make this insane comeback off of Tinkerer and Pop alone. Tinkerer points me in the right direction, does a much better job, in my opinion, than Barbecue and Chili as for telling you where you need to go to use Pop Goes the Weasel. because I don't know, I don't think barbecue's very good. Like as soon as they nerfed it, so if you hide, like when survivors hide in lockers, they don't show up on barbecue. I don't really think barbecue's like all that. Like I know back in the day it used to be like the end all be all killer perk. Like that and OG Ruin were like those were your two best killer perks. It's kind of like honey mustard. You throw that on everything, on all your killers. But it's not that same anymore. You know, the game has changed quite a bit, and I don't think barbecue is it, man. But I'm kind of messing with this Tinker joint. I'm telling you, Tinker, now that it kicks in at 70%, it's pretty nice. And I haven't really like I don't know how Freddy works with Tinker because I know he's got his like little lullaby. But dude, the amount of people I've been grabbing off of generators when I have Tinker up is actually like it's madness. Like I'll be playing like okay, like an actual stealth killer. Like I'll be like a Myers or a Ghostface, right? And I try and grab somebody when I'm in my stealth, and I get dedicated. Like he's holding the hand like on their shoulder, and the game like freezes for a second. He's like, "Hey, little mama, let me whisper something in your ear," like that song, you know. Kind of like that. That's going to sound really weird in this video. But anyway, he does the thing where his hand gets frozen, but you don't actually get the grab. But my boy Freddy gets the grab. So, and that's because I got Tinker on him. So, like Tinker, the new Tinker, now that it kicks in at like 70% gen progress instead of like 85, I think it was before. Like old Tinker was like, haha, dude, you're about to lose this gen, tough shit, and then like you just lose the gen, like there's nothing else you can do. But in this newly updated Tinker, oh my lord, it's so tasty with you know the gen teleport, and that's another thing. You know they're making Pop Goes the Weasel 40 seconds. You can make good use of Pop Goes the Weasel with Freddy because I think Freddy technically has the most mobility if we're talking like point A to point B. Like as long as you don't waste your teleport like randomly at times when you don't need it. Like I'm talking like you teleport to a gen that nobody's touched in 20 years, and then all of a sudden a map on the other side is a gen on the other side of the map is about to get completed. Like I used to do that all the time when I was new to Freddy. I'd waste TP, I'd waste his teleport. If you actually use it when you're like supposed to, you'll always be able to use Pop Goes the Weasel. And you know Tinker is nice too when you have Ruin up in the early game. Tells you what gen you need to spook survivors off of, and then once you get to the gen, because you have Ruined, you can just get right to chasing. I made another video about that when I was first talking about this build. The thing is, with the build, I was unsure what the fourth perk should be, because I was going back and forth between Barbecue, and then I was thinking, you know, okay, maybe Sloppy Butcher, you know, slow the game down just a little bit. But I think Pop Goes the Weasel is the way, man, because at rank 1, which is what I'm like basically at right now. Like good survivors will find your totems, especially if they got nothing better to do. They'll find your totems and they will cleanse them. And on open maps, you know, this map, Macmillan, Auto Haven, you know, Haddonfield, they'll find your totems, man. Even some indoor maps. If people like these people, they know the spots where they come up. So just having that extra, you know, ace up your sleeve is really nice, and I think it works out really well. I mean, worst case scenario, you're playing a game without a fourth perk, but I feel like the value that Pop is going to bring you if you do need it, and that's a very possible if at high ranks, is going to give you much more value than, you know, Barbecue and Chili when you're already using Tinker. Like that's a double wasted area of your build that you have for information. Like Tinker is better than Barbecue on Freddy, 100%. You could do Thrilling Tremors, but I'm very turned off about how the cooldown, like Thrilling Tremors has a cooldown, and I feel like I kind of hook people too fast for Tremors to give me a lot of value. Like it feels like every other hook, it'll work for me, but like the second person I down, I still have like 15 seconds on the cooldown. I don't know. Not really crazy about Tremors. Like Tremors is kind of like a ghetto Barbecue in Chile. Like until you get Barbecue on the killer, then you run Tremors. But Pop Goes the Weasel carries, man. So that's all I wanted to say about this build for you guys. I think you should check it out. Hex Undying and Ruin is going to be the meta for sure. And then in 2 months when they go to, you know, analyze the next, you know, mid-chapter balance update, when they go to analyze his chapter, because they announced that they're basically every time a new DLC chapter comes out, which is once every 3 months, 3 months after that, they're going to take all the data that they've been recording and stuff, and they're going to do balance changes for that specific chapter. So 3 months ago, we had Pyramid Head's chapter come out, and, you know, he came out, and people didn't like how Pyramid Heads only use their shockwave attacks when survivors are locked in animations like, you know, vaulting and dropping pouts, because, you know, heaven forbid a killer actually uses his power when it makes sense to, and he doesn't just spam it and miss all these attacks and all the gens go flying because he's using it like a doofus. But they're nerfing Pyramid slightly, I guess, or rebalancing him. So in 2 months, this Hex Undying Ruin meta is going to be safe. Like, it's probably not going to get nerfed for another 2 months. My personal opinion is that it doesn't need a nerf. I think other things like Cough Cough DS Unbreakable needs to be looked at. I think if we're talking balance on the killer side for nerfing stuff, I think Iridescent Hatchets is still stupid. The fact that it's still in the game is really dumb. I think Moris are stupid, but then again, you can't touch Moris until you get keys. I think keys are even more slightly broken than Moris because I can't just open a box in the middle of a game and find, a Mori in a box. Like, it doesn't work that way for killers. With survivors, they find a key and they're just like, I don't want to play the game anymore. And they actually get rewarded for using the key. A killer will usually get punished for using the Mori because it doesn't count as a hook or whatever. So, yeah, I don't understand. They'll probably nerf Blight as well, just because can't have fun in a video game as a killer apparently. But as far as the other changes, I mean, Trail of Torment seems interesting. They're making it so that you have unlimited undetectable status until somebody touches a generator again. You might find some cool synergy there with that perk and Blight's new Dragon's Grip perk. I mean, I think that could be interesting. Like, you're walking around undetectable and you're able to one-shot the person that touched the gen. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I honestly, my main thing that I want for this game is for them to shrink the maps, because I think it's really stale that killers have to dedicate half their build to blocking off generators. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's kind of lame. Like, as a survivor, you can run whatever the hell you want. Like, yeah, you can do what I do, and I recently I got Cheryl, so I'm rocking the God Mode Survivor build, so I got, I got Dead Hard in there, which is half the time it's, press X to be exhausted on the floor dead. So I'm rocking Dead Hard, and then I have Unbreakable DS and Soul Guard, because why not? I mean, I'm messing around with Soul Guard, just to see what I can get away with. It's pretty dirty, it seems like, but that's what I'm running right now. I got the God Mode Survivor build going. I just want them to shrink the map so that we're not forced to run, Corrupt Intervention and Pop and Hex Undying and Ruin and all these perks. I'd rather run more interesting stuff, like maybe like Nemesis and Play with Your Food, or I don't know, Monstrous Shrine and Mindbreaker. Anybody? Like, start getting some more interesting value going on with perk variety. I don't know. I mean, they're doing a good job of getting to that point, and they're also making it so that like all perk rarities are going to be the same depending on their level, which I think is a huge help. I have a couple friends that are newer to the game, and they have a really annoying time trying to grind out all these blood points to get perks and stuff. It makes it a lot more organized that if I want Iron Will level 3, it's going to be a purple, so I know to go for purples off my web. I don't know, for me it's just a little quality of life thing. I feel like the grind is real for new players trying to get new perks. It's kind of rough, but overall very interesting. I'm unfortunate, I'm on PS4, so I'm not going to be able to play the PTB that's on PC only. They need to bring PTB to console. I think that would be so dope, especially since we have crossplay, because I know PTB wait times, especially if it's like for a new killer, are really bad, and they would get a lot more feedback. I mean, I feel like right now with PTB, you're only getting the PC player's opinion, but you should be hearing from the whole player base, because we're all playing together now. We all have crossplay, which I think is the best thing that's happened to Dead by Daylight so far. Like, I complain every once in a while about like the devs and their balancing and stuff, but 10 out of 10 on crossplay. Queue times are amazing. It seems to be working really well. It's super neat to play against and with a bunch of PC streamers, because there's a lot of Twitch TV kids on PC. I mean, it's just fun. It really opens up the game to more personalities and more play styles. I'm definitely playing against a lot more Nurse, which is cool. Not as much Nurse as I expected. I guess the nerf really made her less popular at high rank. I was expecting more high rank Nurse gameplay when I queue up as a survivor. But anyway, guys, just wanted to talk to you real quick about what I believe is the absolute Freddy build in the game. Probably one of the best builds in the game, period. I think Freddy, especially if you're on console, is probably the top 3 killers in the game right now. So if you have him and you like playing him, try this build out. I think it's pretty good. Don't bash, ruin, and pop together before you try it. That's all I gotta say. I think it's worth it. But anyway, guys, that's the video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a like and sub for more if you haven't yet. And I just want to say a huge thank you for 300 subs, by the way. I just noticed we got 300 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. I do this for fun, so if you guys are checking out the videos, it's cool. I think that's awesome. You guys are awesome. Have a great day, and I'll catch y'all later. MCKOOKIE out.